Welcome back to Virtual Chemistry for Chem 101, and this is part 2 of Chapter 8. So in the last section, we learned how to use Avogadro's number, and we learned how to calculate the molar mass of a compound. Avogadro's number, remember, is the relationship between particles and moles. It's the same number no matter what you're talking about. Molar mass is a little bit different. Molar mass needs to be calculated every time you're going to do a problem with molar mass, and you know you need the molar mass if the problem mentions moles and grams. So that's kind of how you can start to strategize in what you need when you're trying to solve a particular problem. In this slide, we see the general pathway for solving molar mass problems, and you can really ignore this thing on the top. This relationship moles divided by molar mass. We are going to use the conversion factor. So in this case, we want to focus on if we want to find the number of moles and we know the mass, we would multiply by 1 mole divided by grams. So this is the inverse of the molar mass, where the number 1 is here, and then the molar mass would be down here. And I apologize because this pen is very hard to work with. And if we want to convert instead from moles into mass, we would take moles times the molar mass, which then shows the canceling of the units. So that is the method that we are going to do our problems. So before we begin, let's do one more example calculating the molar mass of a compound. The compound in this problem is nickel 2 carbonate. Nickel 2 carbonate has the chemical formula NiCO3. Therefore, to calculate the molar mass, you will take 1 times the mass of nickel from the periodic table, which is 58.69 grams per mole, plus 1 times the mass of carbon from the periodic table, which is 12.01 grams per mole, plus 3 times the mass of oxygen from the periodic table. So you take the mass times the subscript, because you need to account for the mass of all the atoms in the compound. And when we add these 3 together, we get a molar mass for the compound of 118.70 grams per mole. So the answer to this problem is letter A. So I'm going to show you one problem demonstrating the conversion between moles and mass. And then we have linked you to 2 videos from YouTube which will demonstrate more conversions, including doing mass to moles. We are also creating, Chris and I, some virtual whiteboard exercises where you'll see us working problems and you'll hear our voice describing what we're doing. They're not interactive, but they'll allow you to see the method. So in this problem, we are going to convert between the moles of nickel 2 carbonate and the mass. So the problem is telling us the molar mass, which we got on the previous slide, of 118.70 grams per mole. And then we are being asked to calculate the number of grams found in 2.25 moles of this compound. So as with any conversion factor or any conversion problem, we always ask ourselves 3 questions. What do I know? Where am I going? And how can I get there? So the what do I know in this case is moles. The problem tells me I have 2.25 moles of this compound, nickel 2 carbonate. The question, where am I going, is calculate the number of grams. So the problem is asking me to find the number of grams. And then finally, how can I get there is what's the relationship between the 2 units. So we have grams and we have moles. And when you hear grams and moles, you automatically think molar mass. Since the compound is nickel 2 carbonate, it's the molar mass of nickel 2 carbonate. If it helps you to write it as 118.70 grams equals 1 mole, then you can decide which unit goes where and you have the numbers all written out for yourself. Sometimes people think it's hard when we just see grams per mole, they forget the number 1 is there. So I write it out as my equality, which helps me make sure I put the units in the right place. So the problem is all worked here on the bottom. We start with what we know, which is 2.25 nickel 2 carbonate. So that's right here. And then I'm multiplying it by the mass over moles. And there should be a 1 there. If you like to keep a 1 there, you can put a 1 there. But the most important thing is that you remember to put your units in the right place so that when you do the math, the moles divide out. So we have mole divided by mole, which equals 1. And remember, MOL is just the abbreviation for MOLE. So 2.25 times 118.70 leaves us with just the unit of grams. The calculator will give you more numbers than this, more digits. This is rounded to the correct 3 significant figures. So this is the first video from Tyler that we have linked you to. This is also linked directly on Canvas. If you're watching this in PowerPoint and you're unable to click directly on this link and have it play for you, the URL is included at the bottom of this slide. You can just cut and paste it into a browser and watch the video that way. You can also link directly from Canvas to watch these videos. If you are watching the movie version of this on YouTube, you can't click directly and play a video in a video. I'm not that technologically gifted. I haven't figured out if you can do that or not. So you would have to then cut and paste or click directly out of Canvas into the video. We've created a section in Canvas called Extra Learning Videos, and all the videos that we have linked in the PowerPoints are going to be listed there as well. And finally, this is the second video that we've linked from Tyler. And after completing this video, I suggest that you do some problems on your own. There's some worksheets on Canvas that we're posting. There are also problems in the book, 32, 34, 36, and 38, plus the odds that go with them. Canvas Unlimited is now free, so all students can just sign up and you'll have access to the course, to the book, to the problems, solutions, and all the things that we've posted. So if you haven't bought a subscription for Canvas Unlimited, you can certainly avail yourself of that free resource as well. If you want to do more practice, you can work the odd problems. I can send you worked solutions. If you ask me for them, I will post them on Canvas. And that is the end of our second presentation for this chapter.